So Ilia Topuria is vacating the UFC featherweight title. And for the vacant belt at UFC 314, main event will be Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. I absolutely love this matchmaking. And I was hoping we weren't going to see Topuria versus Volkanovski too anyways. I have more to be excited about now, though, because the rumor is Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev this summer in a certified classic. I think this is going to be a mega matchup. I'm actually so excited for the potential. I hope that this gets confirmed and we get to see it this summer. It's going to come to fruition. I can feel it in my bones. It's coming to fruition. Topuria said he didn't want to keep cutting to 145 pounds. He wants to do some work at 55, and starting it off with a Makhachev title fight, perfect matchup, okay? Now, UFC 314, great main event with Volkanovski and Lopez, but the card is stacked to the gills. Co-main event, Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett, 5 rounds. I was thinking that the UFC would make this fight, and it was kind of in the rumor mill for a little bit. It's the right fight, 1,000%. And I'm excited to see Paddy Pimblett take on somebody that has the explosive power like a Chandler in the wrestling base. Things are going to get interesting here. And if Paddy handles Michael Chandler, he's in the conversation for a massive fight next. Like, this is the true stepping stone to get Paddy Pimblett into the title talks. I think he has a good chance to win. We'll elaborate more so on each of the fights announced in a little bit. More chaos. Look at this. Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Pitbull was signed to the UFC pretty much yesterday. At least it was confirmed to the public. He's got a massive fight. Featherweight, top contender fight in some sense against Yair Rodriguez. If he goes out there and beats Yair, Patricio 1,000% is in the conversation for, if it's not a title fight, it's a true top contender fight, because he's definitely in the mix as the long reigning Bellator champ. Essentially, you have the Bellator GOAT now in the UFC, and he was begging for his release from the PFL Thank goodness that they let it happen finally, because they weren't getting this guy any fights. I've stood against it. I made videos on the situation, and I'm grateful that we're going to see him in the UFC. And like, Yair Rodriguez is an awesome debut for him. Also, what else do we got? The fighting nerd savage. We got Carlos Prates versus Jeff Neal. Sensational. This card is so stacked. UFC 314 is off the chain. Oh my gosh, look at it. This is the lineup right here, what we're looking at, right? Badass fights all the way through and through. I mean, even Nikita Krylov and Reyes is a cool light heavyweight fight. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson, also just recently announced. A couple other fights you see with Xiaonan Jandiroba and Miller Hooper. We've known they were announced for a little while. Now, that's not all, though, okay? Because UFC 315 also got a main and co-main event. Belal Muhammad fighting the surprise top contender, Jack Della Maddelenda. This is badass. Manon Fiorot finally getting her title fight. How long has it taken her? But I'm grateful we'll see her and Valentina Shevchenko finally go to war, because that's a great striking matchup. I'm so interested in that fight. That's like probably the best ladies fight that can be made in MMA right now, period. Also on the card, we have another high-stake women's fight. We have Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. That's actually a really cool fight. Natalia Silva, with the win, skyrockets to the top. I mean, with a W for her, she might be fighting the winner of the co-main event. And also, because Jack Della Maddelenda got the surprise push into the title fight, because Shavkat Rakhmonov not going to be able to fight at UFC 315. I guess he's going to be the next challenger. At least that's what Dana White's saying. We got a new matchup for Leon. He's taking on Sean Brady. Interesting. This is a hard matchup. I'm excited to talk about everything. I kind of want to go one by one and discuss in depth all of the matchups and everything that's going on, and giving you guys my elaborate reaction. So let's jump into first segment, okay? Just Topuria vacating the belt. I thought he would attempt to go for dual champ status, but less of a likelihood the UFC allows him to hold the featherweight division hostage and then go up and fight Islam Makhachev. I think many people felt this was the perfect fight to make for Islam next, and I honestly think the perfect fight for Topuria as well. But it seemed that the biggest stone in the way of having this fight happen, the gate in front of it, was the fact that Topuria, he did only have one title defense. You had Diego Lopez in line. You had a Volkanovski rematch that was kind of on the horizon, but had like no fan interest. I was hoping that at worst, there was Volkanovski Lopez for an interim belt. And then we would have saw Topuria still go for his dual champ chance going up in weight against Makhachev. But does it really matter if he wins the lightweight belt while he's the featherweight champ, or he vacates it and then he wins the belt up in weight? Like, he's still a two-weight champ. The two-weight world champs that have the belts at the same time, let's be honest, for the most part, it's gimmicks, and they tend to vacate the titles thereafter. Being a two-division champ is just as badass, especially when you didn't even lose the belt at the weight class below. You chose to vacate it, and the guy fighting for it is Volk and Diego Lopez. And if Volk wins, I mean, it's even more of a dominant claim for Ilia Topuria. So happy that he's doing it. Topuria is about business. I saw some pictures of him. He's sticking it up. He's filling into this frame at lightweight. He needs to, because Makhachev is large for the division. He's going to have a good size advantage on Topuria. You know, what makes it interesting, though, is because of Topuria being a bit shorter, I see the wrestling threat of Makhachev diminished a fair amount. Topuria's boxing is certainly better than Islam Makhachev's. If he can get in the close range, I suspect he can land some big power shots. We've seen that chin of Makhachev shot one time. He was knocked out many years ago. I could see good boxing combos from Topuria giving him a lot of trouble. It's an excellent matchup. A tool that may be utilized here by Makhachev that we've seen Topuria struggle with one time, high kick. Jai Herbert dropped him badly at lightweight with a high kick a few years back, and I could see Makhachev looking for the same shot. The way Topuria slips side to side, there leaves a small opening for somebody with a lightning speed high kick to do some damage, and Makhachev's got a nasty high kick. My God, am I going to pick Ilia Topuria? Ilia Topuria is a lot faster with his hands. I may be falling into the hype of Topuria vacating the belt and like doubling down on this opportunity to fight against Islam. But we've seen it, okay? The Georgian savage Merab did handle Umar Nurmagomedov. And I think another Georgian-blooded savage in Ilia Topuria could beat Islam Makhachev. I think I'm going for Topuria. I feel like Makhachev fans are shaking in their boots right now. They didn't want Topuria moving up in weight. They were hoping that he would try to keep that featherweight belt. Oh, they're not going to let him go dual champ status. You need 3 title defenses. Instead, he's like, how about you take my belt? I'll vacate it. I just want to fight you. I want to prove I'm the best at lightweight too. This is a pound-for-pound #1 fight. And if Topuria wins, oh my gosh, he's already kind of put himself in that echelon of GOAT status for featherweight, lightweight division, because you got to think, having a win over Volk in vicious fashion, having a win over Holloway, the only guy to ever knock him out. And then if he can beat Islam Makhachev, Topuria in his 20s is getting into a GOAT conversation. What a badass. Topuria is what it's all about. The new generation of fighter, but a guy that's willing to really take on anybody, anytime, any place. And he's not overly concerned about just holding the title to put 2 belts around his shoulders. He'll be a dual champ, a 2-weight champ. He could drop back down to 45 if you want to do the cut and probably get that belt back. But he's not going to do it. Why? He's moving forward. He ain't looking backwards. I love the matchup. I hope it gets made at International Fight Week. But hearing that it might be at International Fight Week, I started thinking to myself something else. Is John Jones versus Tom Aspinall not happening? I saw this weird rumor that Tom Aspinall might be in talks to fight Cyril Gane. That's a bit of a head scratcher. I hope that doesn't come to fruition. Oh my gosh. If John Jones decides to retire and we don't see that Aspinall fight, it'll leave me with a bad taste in my mouth. I'll be disappointed. But regardless, I have to look at the bright side. We got to keep it positive over here, okay? Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev is an amazing matchup, and I am very grateful that it seems to be next for both guys. It's the most sensible fight. Makhachev running it back with Oliveira next. Nah. Oliveira, if he wins one, maybe. Makhachev rebooking against Saruki, and UFC said, no, who else is he going to fight? He's going to fight the winner of Gaethje and Hooker. He destroyed Hooker. Gaethje lost to Max Holloway. That wouldn't make a lot of sense to me. I think this is the right fight. This is extreme high level. And yeah, I think it's going to happen. I hope it's going to happen, but I think strongly they are going to make it. Dana White didn't officially state this during his live stream. He said they're working on something to Topuria and they'll announce it soon. This is most likely the fight. I'd be kind of surprised if they do a champion who has 2 wins like that, being Ilia Topuria, not immediately fighting for the belt in a new weight class. I think that would be a mistake. They're going to give him the title fight. But let's talk about this vacant title fight for a second. Like, there's so much to talk about during this video. It's amazing. I love how much news we have all in one video. Alexander Volkanovski, Diego Lopez is the perfect fight. I was hoping the UFC would book it regardless of championship status on it. It's a really cool matchup because Lopez has insane power, great length, good jiu-jitsu as well. Volkanovski, I mean, he could potentially be washed. Violent knockout to Ilia Topuria last time. Prior to that, violent knockout against Makhachev. But you could argue that now having a proper amount of rest time for himself, taking some time off, not just jumping right back out there, because let's be honest, he took a short notice fight against Makhachev, quickly turned around to fight Topuria. Now he's had time to recover. His chin could potentially be better. He could be remotivated. He probably is. Knowing Volkanovski, I feel like he's looking to make a statement here against Lopez, but damn, Lopez is explosive and quick. I see Diego Lopez catching Volkanovski. I see Diego Lopez hitting him with like a death touch punch. I really do, guys. I can't sit here and lie to you. I don't know, man. I'm thinking about the matchup. I'm looking at Volkanovski's height and reach, and I want to see how that compares with Topuria. Let me get the topology in front of my face right now. Like, let's look at this real quick, okay? Volkanovski, long arms for being, 5'6". 71.5-inch reach is crazy at his height. Diego Lopez, only an inch reach advantage, but he is going to be a full 5 inches taller. He's got a more narrow frame, I'll assume longer arms. Riding an amazing win streak right now. Has all the momentum on his side. He's 30 with Volkanovski being 36, and we tend to see it. You pass 35 of these lower weight classes, the odds of getting the belt back, they diminish substantially. I think I'm going to say Diego Lopez claps him. I'm going to go early prediction, and new champ is going to be Diego Lopez. I don't think Volk's getting the belt back. I think Lopez sleeps him because I feel like the Diego Lopez striking flow is just getting better and better, and we know he's good on the ground. The argument could be, though, oh, well, how's he going to deal with a 5-round pace against a championship guy like Volkanovski? Maybe Volk can edge him on the cards, but as far as finishing ability, I really believe Diego Lopez could knock Volkanovski out, and I think I'm going to predict that. Early prediction, we're going Diego Lopez to chin Volk. I'm glad Volk is in the title picture again. I'm cool with him fighting for a title after the losses back-to-back, especially with Topuria vacating the belt now. But if it was a Topuria rematch here, I would be dissatisfied. But the fact that it is a new face for him and vacant title, yeah, if Topuria is not in the division anymore, absolutely. The long-standing champion, Alexander Volkanovski, should be right away fighting for a title against the scariest guy in the come-up. Amazing matchmaking. I love that it's a new fight. Happy not to see a rematch. I want to see new blood. And Diego Lopez Volkanovski is a wild championship fight. I'm so excited for this matchup. UFC 314 is absolute heat. This is a dope main event. The matchup has me so intrigued. Miami is getting blessed, man. Holy hell. But yeah, we'll go with Lopez and new champ. Let's keep running through. Okay, we got Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. I think this is Paddy's breakout fight. I think he's going to beat Michael Chandler. Now, it is a 5-round co-main event, which is interesting, right? Paddy Pimblett potentially going to be tested in the later rounds against a Michael Chandler. Chandler going to be hard to put away. I don't know. It's going to really come down to how does Paddy pace himself. But, dude, Chandler is so reckless. Though he has big power, he's so reckless. He has a lot of striking vulnerabilities that he shows. Paddy Pimblett has very good jiu-jitsu. I'd say even like high-caliber jiu-jitsu. Vicious win against Bobby Green last time. I feel like Paddy's found his footing in the UFC. And Michael Chandler, it's not that he isn't good. I don't want to make it like Michael Chandler isn't good. But at the end of the day, the last fight against Oliveira, right? People will ride high on Michael Chandler's performance. At least the Chandler fan base, the small percentage of fans. But he was landing a lot of back-of-the-head shots. To be fair, Michael Chandler is known for cheating. All right, we can call him a rule bender to be nice, but he's known for breaking the rules, man. I just think 1-4 in his last 5. He's nearly 39 years old at the time they fight. You have to favor the primed Paddy Pimblett to handle business. Now, over the 5 rounds, it's going to be interesting to see how Paddy's gas tank holds up. There's a possibility of Paddy choking him out. I can see Paddy getting the back of Michael Chandler. I can see him strangling him like Poirier was able to get the rear naked choke. And I know last fight, Oliveira beat him on the cards. But to be fair, Oliveira dominated most of that fight. It was a little bit of the safer side version of Oliveira. I just feel something with Pimblett getting the finish. There's vulnerabilities for Chandler to get caught on the feet. I think Paddy can land shots. I don't think Paddy's out of a striking fight with Michael Chandler either. I'd say like pure power, Chandler has more of it. But like I said, he's almost 39. At this point, he's just one of the warriors on the UFC roster that they know are going to get entertaining fights. But this right here is him being the gatekeeper. He's trying to hold his spot. And I think Paddy is going to absolutely run through the gate. I see Paddy Pimblett breaking into the upper echelon. I feel like he's got the tools to be at least top 6, top 7. From here, I mean, the sky's the limit after this one for Paddy Pimblett. He goes out and beats Michael Chandler. There's excellent fights. This is not going to happen. This is a far-fetched delusion. But can you imagine a world where McGregor would have stayed a little more active or was prepared to come back? A Paddy Pimblett versus Conor McGregor fight in the UK, or even if they did it in Ireland, would be one of the biggest fights outside of America you could make. Like, I'm thinking about that matchup, and I feel like it's mind-blowing to imagine how big that could be over there in that part of the world. I would love to see Paddy Pimblett fight Conor McGregor. I've always had a hope for it, but it's unlikely. McGregor, if he does return, I'm assuming it's going to be 170 pounds. But with a win for Paddy Pimblett, and Conor McGregor is supposed to be fighting in 2025, not the craziest of delusions ever to think Pimblett with a win here could choose to call for a McGregor fight, and if the timelines work, he could end up fighting. Now, I'm holding on to a fever dream maybe, or a pipe dream, whatever you want to call it, that McGregor might be coming back, but it could happen. Man can dream, right? You telling me you wouldn't want to see Paddy Pimblett and Conor McGregor? Come on. That'd be such a cool fight. I would love to see it. I do think Paddy is going to handle business here, though. I think he finishes Michael Chandler. His grappling skill set is too good. He's very athletic and he's elusive. He's getting better each and every fight. I don't think Chandler is getting better. I think he's even regressing potentially. He's always a brave warrior who brings an entertaining style. But like I said, rule bender for sure. I'm curious what fouls he's going to do here. Maybe, digs his fingers into the gloves, fish hooks Paddy Pimblett at some point. Don't be surprised with Michael Chandler. After the fight, though, even with a loss for Chandler, 9 times out of 10, he handles Paddy Pimblett according to him. But yeah, the pick is Pimblett. Come on. Let's keep running through. Oh my gosh, Yair Rodriguez and Pitbull. I think Patricio Pitbull handles business here with Yair. Yair is too one-dimensional. His defensive grappling, I don't think he can handle Pitbull. I know people are thinking, oh, Pitbull's washed. He's not. Okay? He took a real short notice fight in Asia, and he ended up catching an L. Absolutely destroyed Jeremy Kennedy last time and looked back in championship form. And the other fight that he lost, it was against Sergio Pettis prior to the, fight in Japan. The loss that he had was at 135 pounds. He drained himself, cut way too much weight, fought at 135 as a diminished version of his prime self, and ended up taking an L. But at 145 pounds, Patricio Pitbull is a different beast. He's been dreaming forever of getting to the UFC, and I love this matchup for him because though Yair is incredibly elusive in striking, I know he's incredibly dangerous. There is vulnerabilities in the grappling positions, and Patricio Pitbull has good knockout power on the feet, closes the gap pretty well. I don't see him getting just caught up on the outside, getting picked apart and chopped at by Yair Rodriguez. I think he closes distance, makes it a dirty fight, and gets a finish too. I'm going with Patricio Pitbull to pull it off. I think he wins his UFC debut. And with a win, I know Movsar Evloev is there, but with a win, if Patricio Pitbull and Volkanovski win, how would they not set that fight up? Long, reigning featherweight champ from Bellator versus, the UFC featherweight GOAT, essentially. I love it. I love it. Thank goodness that Patricio finally made it to the UFC. He was getting his career held hostage by the PFL and Don Davis. I had a big problem with it. If you guys hadn't seen, I did videos on it. I was one of the few people in the space covering it with passion because I've watched Patricio Pitbull's whole career. I was a big Bellator fan for a long time, and I witnessed the dominance that he had to not get to live up to like the final run, even if it was with PFL. At least he was getting fights, but he wasn't. Now getting to test himself in the UFC, yes, it's a little late. Would it have been better if he could have got to the UFC 5 years ago? Of course. But this is still a dangerous Patricio Pitbull. He beat Michael Chandler. It was a long time ago, 2019. Still has that win. Currently 37 years of age. He'll still only be 37 at the time of the fight. We're not far away from the fight. We're less than 2 months away. April 12th is UFC 314. I don't know why in my mind I thought it was longer. That's soon. That's like 7 weeks. UFC 314. UFC, thank you for blessing us with this card because I absolutely love it. Now, Patricio is going to be giving up a lot of range in this fight, so he is going to have to close distance. I believe he has the abilities to do such a thing. Accurate striking, nice low kicks, at times karate-esque striking. He's very defensively sound. I think Yair Rodriguez gets outworked by Pitbull, potentially submitted as well. But Pitbull has deceptive punching power. He could do damage on the feet. Great fight. Happy that we got it. Shout out to the UFC for signing Pitbull, and we'll go with Pitbull as the early prediction as well. Let's keep running through, okay? Next up, oh my gosh, Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Give me the glasses. Give me the glasses, the AJ special. I modified the Fighting Nerds glasses. I made them my own style. Carlos Prates is going to violently destroy Jeff Neal. I was calling for this fight after Prates' last fight. It made so much sense to me. I didn't think they were going to sacrifice Wonder Boy by giving him to Prates. Instead, do the Jeff Neal fight. Jeff Neal's a legit gatekeeper and a stern test for Carlos Prates, though, because Neal's striking is good. He's a southpaw. He's got a nice knockout last time against RDA. I know RDA tore his knee up, but Jeff Neal was doing damage in that fight. He dropped him. He hurt him bad, and, the knee happened to tear, too. I think Prates is going to absolutely destroy Jeff Neal, though. He's too clean. He's Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira blended together and brought down to welterweight. He's a blessing to the UFC, okay? Carlos Prates winning this fight in emphatic fashion and getting in the title picture is what the UFC is dreaming of, and I think it's what fans are hoping for, too. The pick is Fighting Nerds all day. I'm going with Carlos Prates to win in violent fashion, and I see him making a run towards the top. Now I got myself wondering, okay, how far is he from a title picture? I mean, if he goes out and handles business against Jeff Neal, that's a marquee matchup for him. Jeff Neal's like, a top 12 guy. So he beats Jeff Neal. Tapology has him ranked 8. I don't think that's the official ranking. I can actually check UFC rankings too. I guess I should check the official rankings to keep it, as professional as possible. Currently, Jeff Neal's ranked number 10. Okay, I like that. Prates 13. So if he goes out there and he beats Jeff Neal, an Ian Gary fight is on the horizon, a matchup that I think Ian Gary would be terrified of. He's going to need to panic wrestle in that one. Probably Joaquin Buckley on the horizon too. I don't know who he's going to fight. Maybe Buckley-Gary fight, and then the winner, assuming that it's Prates over Neal, would potentially fight the winner of that fight. Shavkat Rakhmonov, they're saying, is going to be on the sidelines and end up fighting Belal Muhammad for the belt. But I don't know. I could see Shavkat versus Joaquin Buckley if they decide to go against the Ian Gary fight. But yeah, there's some good positions for Carlos Prates with the win. I see him breaking into that top 5, top 6. After he wins, he'll get a fight against somebody ranked there. I think he's going to look sensational. So shout out to Fighting Nerds. Shout out to Carlos Prates. Listen, I think he's going to handle business in vicious fashion. If you're not a Carlos Prates fan, I don't understand you at this point. Prates for the W. Let's keep looking at it. All right, so I just want to quickly react to New Edition. Dan Ige, Sean Woodson. I want to say Dan Ige can handle business against Sean, but Woodson is so long and elusive. Woodson probably wins a split decision. I'll hope Dan Ige can crack him with something big because I think Woodson at times has vulnerabilities, but he's so good from the outside. His boxing is smooth, and Ige is essentially just a boxer. I feel like Woodson can handle business and take it on the cards, but that's a great matchup. That's a really great matchup. I love Sean Woodson versus Dan Ige. I like that fight. Sean Woodson's, he's making a run now. Winning this one, he's got to be taken seriously after this. Beating a Dan Ige is a legit way to win. Like, if you beat a Dan Ige, you're in the upper echelon as far as the UFC featherweight division goes. And I think it's the right matchup for him. Yeah, we'll go early lean Sean Woodson. I think it makes sense. Unfortunately, Dan Ige, he's not going to get the marquee fight after a loss. I was thinking maybe he would even get a Patricio Pitbull fight. I don't know, though. If Patricio happened to lose, regardless of what happens with Woodson and Ige, I like Dan Ige versus Patricio Pitbull. I don't know why I have a curiosity around that fight, but ultimately, rankings-wise, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Seeing where they're matching Patricio up in the true higher caliber featherweight aspect of the division, it looks like they're trying to give him a push to the title. But yeah, we'll go Sean Woodson and win a close one. But damn, good fights. Oh my gosh. UFC 314, are you kidding me? This is incredible. I love this main event. It's such an intriguing matchup. I'm happy as hell to see Paddy Pimblett Chandler. I've been a Pitbull guy for a long time. Excited to see him here. Oh my gosh, Carlos Prates, Jeff Neal. It seems like a sacrifice for Jeff Neal, but I want to highlight real for Prates. Reyes Krylov is a good matchup too. I don't know, I think Reyes might have a little more speed than Krylov. He could catch him. Xiaonan Jandiroba's cool. Jim Miller, Chase Hooper. I think Chase handles this ladies fight. Flip a damn coin, man. I don't know. I think Jandiroba could get her down, but Xiaonan's got more dangerous striking. Regardless of that, I want to talk about more, okay? I literally have a whole nother card of main caliber fights to talk about. So let's jump into it. UFC 315, Belal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddelenda. Let's talk about that fight first and foremost, okay? Holy hell. Out of left field, Jack Della, as of yesterday, he was taking on Leon Edwards. And then things changed. May 10th at UFC 315, he will challenge Belal Muhammad for the welterweight belt. I love Jack Della Maddelenda, guys, but damn, I will be reaching hard if I try to pick him with confidence. Like, my early lean is Belal lands some key takedowns, wins a grind-heavy decision, and beats Jack Della. But there's an aspect of Jack Della that needs to be taken seriously, and that's his boxing combinations on the inside. Jack Della has devastating power. He could catch Belal Muhammad. There has been moments where Belal's been boxed up before. We've seen him knocked out long time ago. Yeah, but Vicente Luque still absolutely starched him. But Jack Della's got to be so clean, man. And he was losing the fight to Gilbert Burns, then got a comeback finish to go out and beat a Belal. I just think it's a little too soon for him. I don't know, though. I've had some weird intuition about Jack Della potentially being the guy to lay Belal Muhammad out with his knockout power, even in a fight that looks ugly and is going against him. It's just hard to actually predict that. It's an early lean for sure. He's got a 1-inch reach advantage. The boxing of Jack Della is so good, but Belal's wrestling is on point. His gas tank is proven. Jack Della hasn't shown anything. Am I really going to go, undeserved title shot, and I'm going to pick him to win? I feel like Belal takes a decision home and makes me cry. I am team Jack Della all the way, but I might have to drop some tears after this one because I feel like Belal is going to end up like 49-46 in him, 50-45 in him. The way Jack Della Maddelenda wins, it's the puncher's chance way. He needs a comeback knockout, maybe in the later rounds, because him catching Belal cold early in the fight, I don't think it's too likely. I definitely think Belal can land takedowns. I think he can wear on Jack Della, gas him out a bit. Damn it, Belal's going to retain the title, man. He is. I'm picking Belal. I'm going with Belal. I'm pissed off about it. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind. As we get closer to the fight, I'll see what I'm feeling. So make sure you always tune in to the Sunday before fight night because that's when I drop the official picks. But right now, months and months out from the fight, gosh, I feel like Belal's going to win a decision. Shit. I want to go Jack Della. I'm not going to reach. We'll see. We'll see as we get closer. But yeah, Belal probably decision, man. Damn it. Let's keep talking, though, okay? Valentina Shevchenko, Manon Fiorot is an epic women's fight. I think it's probably the most high-caliber women's fight they can put together right now. My God, this is perfect. I think I'm going to pick Manon Fiorot to win a close decision because I think Father Time tells all. And I feel like Shevchenko is getting close to that end point. She has to be. No way that she isn't. How old is she now? Let me check. She's currently 37. But Manon Fiorot's 35. My God, that's mind-blowing. I keep thinking Fiorot's like 32. Damn. She seems more prime, though. Oh, my God. Am I really picking against one of the female GOATs, greatest women of all time? I think Fiorot might handle business on the scorecards, man. Fiorot might get her on the cards. But then again, I'm like, Valentina's a legend, though. Fiorot from range is tricky to deal with, but Valentina will have better grappling, for sure. She could wrestle fuck, man, on Fiorot. Early predictions drive me fucking crazy, but they're fun to make. Let me shoot this there. Let's see if I hit the square. I missed the square. We'll go with Manon Fiorot. We'll stick with the call, but I don't know, man. Way out. This is not an official anything. This is just off the top of the dome right now, okay? I see Fiorot's sidekicks being a factor, strikes from long range, takedown defense. Valentina's quick with her hands, though. She could close the gap and land big shots. She's definitely live to win it. Fiorot has looked sensational so far, though, but she's not taken on a Valentina Shevchenko just yet. She bodied Erin Blanchfield last time for 5 rounds, which I thought was a great performance, to be honest with you. And then fight before that, beat Thug Rose in a kind of close one, but still clean. Beat up Caitlin Sermonara. I really think, does Father Time not exist? Like, Natalia Santos split decision. Shevchenko nearly lost. Then she lost to Grasso, drawed with Grasso. Granted, that was a little controversial. And then she dominated her, though, in the trilogy. How much more she got left in the tank at 37, though? I really don't know. She's still prime, though. She still looks primed in the way that she fights. Might be writing her off a little too soon. That might be a big mistake on my part. Nah. I think I'll stick with Fiorot for now. But definitely, like, you know, one to actually, like, sit down. I got to tape study it if I want a real in-depth pick. So I'm thinking about the little intricacies of the matchup. Will Fiorot control range? Will Shevchenko close the gap and find counter shots over the top as Fiorot's looking to move away? Is the grappling going to be a threat? Could Fiorot be taken down? She's definitely got less miles on the car, but Shevchenko, like I said, last fight, Shevchenko looked so good against Grasso. She absolutely dominated her. I feel like I'm an idiot for picking against her. You know what? Nah, I'll go Shevchenko early, but very much so subject to change because I've essentially, in the past 3 minutes of talking about the fight, I've picked both of them. So we'll see what happens when the damn cage door closes. Either way, highest level of women's fighting. I absolutely love it. And we have a top contender fight right before Natalia Silva, the hottest prospect in the division, who's absolutely on fire right now, versus Grasso. I think that Natalia is going to handle. And I think Natalia's next in line for the belt. She's a hard matchup for either Shevchenko or Manon Fiorot, too. I love this fight. Coming off the win over Andrade by dominant decision. Wow, that was all the way back in September. That was a minute ago. Dominated Araujo, who actually just fraud-checked Corinne Silva. Then, like, some other okay wins. I think she's going to have some good speed on her. Being the younger girl and more primed, I think she probably takes a decision off of Grasso. I feel like Natalia is underrated with her grappling, could land some takedowns. Grasso's hands are on point, but that fight against Shevchenko just gets in my ear too much. It's like it left a bad taste. She really couldn't do anything. She looked very average in that fight. I could see Natalia landing quick kicks, staying moving, maybe timing a throw or something like that. Depends on what Alexa Grasso shows up. Former champ Grasso or the one that got absolutely wrecked by Shevchenko Grasso. But yeah, I'll go early with Natalia Silva. I'll ride with the prospect. I think that she'll run it up. She's 28 years old. I think she's really in her prime of primes right now. And yeah, I'm going with Grasso for the W. I'm going with Natalia for the W. I just said Grasso. Take it back. Take it back. No jinx. Knocked on wood 3 times. We're chilling. Natalia Silva to win the fight. Now, Leon Edwards fighting against Sean Brady. I don't even know how to pick this one right now. Wow. Caught me by absolute surprise, but I said, listen, we're turning the camera on and we're reacting because I got to give you guys my early leans for everything. What I like most about this fight is actually Belal's tweet. Dang, I stole Leon's belt and his opponent. That was fucking funny. We'll give it a like, bro. Shout out to Belal for that. That was pretty funny. I'm looking at this matchup and I'm like, okay, if Leon is on point, he can beat the worst version of Belal. But Leon sometimes gets so lackadaisical. Sean Brady is hungry as fuck right now. Sean Brady is a hungry savage on the come up right now. You guys are getting my live in-depth overthought. He just beat Gilbert Burns handily. Wrecked Gastelum the fight before. Yeah, I'm going to go with him. I'm going to go with Sean Brady. I feel like he's primed. At 32, I know that he's only a year and 3 months younger than Leon, but like he just seems so primed right now where Leon, I don't know, man. He's not a decision, or he's more a decision winner. He's not a finisher. Like, I feel like he could handle business and win a decision, but then there's the thought process of, okay, but Sean Brady's improving every fight. He can land takedowns. He's definitely the better grappler. Leon not having big power is going to have a hard time keeping Sean off of him. I think of that first the Usman rematch, as I say, 2.5 years ago when he landed the head kick. He was getting wrecked in that fight. I could see Brady doing something similar. And it's like he got fucking taken down by Colby and controlled a bit. It's not a great look. Belal wrecked him. I'll go with Sean Brady. I'm going to go Sean Brady, actually. Yeah. Early prediction. I think Brady takes it home in a competitive fight. In the UK, I was going Jack Della all day against Leon. You guys know. Okay, I might have an inherent bias against Leon for some reason at this point, but I think Sean Brady wins. Shout out to the Philly Savage, bro. I think Philadelphia keeps riding high with W's into 2025, and I think Sean Brady's handling business. What an amazing day in MMA news. I was waiting for news like this. I was praying for a big fight announcement, and I got way more than I could have asked for. I got several massive fight announcements and the hint of a Topuria Makhachev super fight. Listen, MMA gods, thank you. Dana White, thank you. Thank you. These fights are epic, and I absolutely love it. And that's what makes me the hardcorest of hardcore fans because, yeah, moments like this are sensational. I can feel the excitement. I don't know if you guys could tell throughout the video how excited I truly am for all of these fights. This is great. I mean, I'm excited for a Belal main event, for fuck's sake. Like, things are good. UFC 315 with that women's fight co-main, that's a great card. Canada finally getting a good card. It's been a damn long time. But UFC 314 in Miami feels like a super card. Oh my gosh. And this summer we'll get Topuria versus Makhachev. If the John Jones-Aspinall fight doesn't happen, I will say this has healed my soul a bit because Topuria and Makhachev is special. Really, if you had to pick one of the two, I don't know why. I'm like, this is just the one. This is the one. I know I want to find out how John Jones does against a real heavyweight, but it's like Topuria versus Makhachev. You can only have one ever. Give me the prime Ilia Topuria going for GOAT status, really, to try and take out Makhachev and win back-to-back-to-back fights against 3 high-caliber champions. Yeah, that's amazing. Wow. Dana White, thank you. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's reaction video. Absolutely love everything that's going on right now. I'm feeling great. I'm riding a high right now throughout this whole damn video. So much love to the people watching. Smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe and turn those post notifications on. Daily videos, daily live streams, you know, predictions to news reactions to the betting side and more. I got it all covered. Okay? The go-to spot for all things MMA and UFC. Keep it locked in on the channel. I appreciate my people. Let me know what you thought in the comments. And if you got nothing to say, just enjoy the content, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.